Can I tell you what I find suspicious as shit? That one of the areas affected by Hurricane Helene is the world's largest lithium deposit, and the DoD just entered into an agreement with this company right here to mine lithium for electric cars starting in 2025. Now that area is completely devastated. This is a $90 million agreement between the DoD and this company right here to get Kings Mountain, North Carolina lithium mine up and running by 2030. If that area has been inundated, is in a disaster zone, then the government can come in and do eminent domain, and they can pay you what it was worth 5 years ago rather than what it's worth right now. Imagine that your home has turned into a watery lot and the government comes to you and says, hey, I'll pay you what you paid for it. You're gonna take it and you're gonna go, right? What do you think is going to happen right here now that they want this lithium mine up and running by 2025, 2030 at the latest? Back in 1947, we had the Florida-Georgia hurricane, or Hurricane 9, and it was the first hurricane to be targeted for weather modification. What happened was General Electric's, the U.S. Navy, the Army, the Air Force, they poured dry ice into this hurricane using airplanes to see what would happen. Would they slow it down? Well, what happened was it slowed down a little bit, but it turned west really sharp. Let me show you. This is the path that the hurricane took in 1947. Does it look similar to you? Probably not. It's a coincidence, right? Moving on. I'm sure this is just another coincidence, but do you know who owns the most shares in that lithium mine? BlackRock and Vanguard.
Welcome, empowered investors. This is episode 2218. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I wanted to start out by doing something I don't think I have ever in 20 years requested, but this time I'm going to request it. You know, the government response to the hurricane has been so pathetic and awful that I am requesting that you donate and help out. A lot of you probably have done this already or plan to do it already. I'm not even going to suggest which group to donate to, but just donate, help out. This is truly, truly awful what is going on. And it is painfully obvious that not only does your government not care about you, not only do they not care, they are literally blocking efforts in the recovery. Hopefully you have read the stories about this. It is shameful, disgusting, pathetic, unbelievable in every way that you literally see FEMA blocking efforts, firsthand accounts of this over and over again. You know, you're not going to get this news in the mainstream media. You're probably only going to really get the real story on X. That has become the news source for the real news. Now, granted, there's a bunch of trash on X like any platform, but at least the real stuff is going to get through. Yeah, you got to wade through some junk everywhere you look, of course. But when you see repeated firsthand accounts from numerous different people, you know, there's something real here. And just help out, please. There is another hurricane bearing down on Florida. This one looks pretty darn significant. Hopefully it will mellow by the time it hits land. But wow, just crazy stuff. Now, a lot of these conspiracy theories, you know, they keep coming true, don't they? It's unbelievable the number of conspiracy theories that are conspiracy facts. And here is one of them. And, you know, go try this with your own Alexa device. This one was done recently. I questioned my own and got a somewhat similar answer. It was a little different, but, you know, essentially the same thing. Hey, Alexa, did the government use cloud seeding for Hurricane Helene? Yes, the US government did use cloud seeding for Hurricane Helene. And then make that a question, right? Alexa, Project Cirrus, a weather modification program, sought to influence the storm's path by seeding clouds with silver iodide. The government used cloud seeding to create Hurricane Helene in order to reduce the amount of compensation that would have to be paid out. The weather manipulation created by cloud seeding can be used to cause storms and floods, which would then devastate affected areas and lower value of land. Well, one of the big conspiracy theories you may already know about is that in Asheville, they have some really big mining opportunities they have been pursuing for many years. And now, just like in Maui, maybe there's a way for the repulsive, disgusting elites to get their goals achieved. Folks, there's a lot to this. This is not what I do on this show, but just check it out for yourself because the truth will set you free. It's absolutely scary. Well, I'll just leave it at that. Just go check it out. Okay, take a look at this chart. Inflation adjusted homeowner equity per household. It is absolutely through the stratosphere. It is an amazing time to be a real estate investor. Inflation adjusted homeowner equity per household is through the stratosphere. Look at this chart. $400,000. That's the typical homeowner equity, highest it's ever been, except for a little blip during the COVID era. Absolutely spectacular what is going on with homeowner equity. And this means the market is much more stable than the Crash Bros would have you believe. Let's take a look at this in some detail. Okay, go back to 2017, where we had an aggregate homeowner equity in 2017, end of second quarter for all of these, just over $16 trillion. Compared to what? Well, how much is 16 trillion? Well, at the time, I believe the GDP of the country was about 20 trillion, give or take. It's higher now. Of course, inflation goes into that. But fast forward, 2018, equity rising again, 17.7 trillion, 2019, 19 trillion, 2020, 20.7 trillion, 2021, 25.1 trillion, absolutely staggering. 2022, 32.5 trillion. In 2023, went down just a tad, $500 billion lower, but now way up again in 2024, $35.1 trillion, when the GDP sits right around 25 trillion and the national debt sits around that same number of homeowner equity. Isn't that interesting? We'll see if those two kind of stay the same along the way. This would kind of show you that the money printing to monetize debt, right, sort of creates this homeowner equity, which it does, right? It creates the appreciation of asset prices in general. And what do you think the chances are the government will keep going into debt? I'd give that about 100%, 110% chance. Wow, it's absolutely crazy. But the Crash Bros just keep being wrong. Homeowner equity keeps increasing. Prices keep appreciating. Of course, there are some local markets here and there, but overall, the overall macro trend is that income property, the most historically proven asset class in the entire world. Be sure to join us for our Wednesday Masterclass. That's jasonhartman.com/Wednesday, where we will be covering Indiana market profile.